everybody, and welcome to the MOOBment. I'm Laurie Ann, the creator and host of the MOOBment Podcast, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. Before we get started, I wanted to just remind you and mention a couple of things. First of all, I'm hoping you will all follow us on Instagram. You can reach us at the MOOBment. Certain times we have giveaways or things to let you know about, so we really encourage you to please follow us and stay in touch with what's going on at the MOOBment. Speaking of what's going on at the MOOBment, I wanted to let you know, and it's only appropriate since my guest today is actually an author, we are working on the MOOBment, the book. And this is a book that is for mothers of only boys and those who love us, and it's a compilation type of book. So we are looking for input from MOOBs out there who would like to contribute their stories to the book. There will be information on our website as well as on Instagram as far as how you would submit and what to submit if you're interested. So stay tuned, and that's pretty exciting information for us here. Also, if you can follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts, that would be helpful. And if you can leave us a 5-star review, that goes a long way in the podcast community, and it also helps other MOOBs and the people who love them find us and follow us. So thank you for all that. So let's move on now to our special guest for today. We have with us Brenda Li, and Brenda is an author of many books, but in particular today we'll be talking about her book called The Boy Who Makes a Million Mistakes. And this book caught my attention for several reasons. And we will talk to Brenda a little bit about how she wrote it, why she wrote it, and really most importantly, what we can all learn from it, both as mothers and as kids. So Brenda, welcome today. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Laurie Ann.
So let's get started. Tell us a little bit about your family. Tell us about how you got started as a children's book author.
Well, I have 2 boys. They're currently 5-year-old and 10-year-old. And I have a husband. So I consider myself having 3 boys, really. I started the author career. Well, it all started with I was in visual effects for Hollywood films. I was a visual effects artist. I was working on Transformers, Thor, Tron, those type of movies. And it was overtime after overtime, and there were no sick days, and I didn't get a chance. I wasn't married at the moment, and I didn't even get the chance to spend time with my family or go on dates and all that. And then I'm like, man, when I get married and I have kids, this is not how my life is going to be. It's not sustainable. So I started looking for different outlets, and I love illustrating and I love writing, and I'm really creative. I have a lot of imagination. Even at this age, imagination never leaves me. So I figured, why not give children's books a chance?
I love that. I love the idea that you were able to identify how you wanted to change your lifestyle, turn that into something that you are successful at, that you enjoy clearly, because I see it all over your face about how much you love what you do, and that you are a MOOB, like so many of us out there, a mother of only boys, and you give your family and your husband as well attention to adjust your lifestyle to fit all of you, which is really, really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you
Thank
wrote
you.
this book, The Boy Who Makes a Million Mistakes. Why don't you tell everybody listening out there the gist of the story, and we will make the information about this book available on our website and on our Instagram account. But tell us a little bit about Milo, the character in the story, and about the story itself.
The Boy Who Makes a Million Mistakes is about Milo, who wants to be the amazing baker that he has always wanted to be. So he was, trying and baking and making tons of mistakes. And all the cookies and the baked goods that he's making, they all taste terrible. And he was really about to give up. And then he remembers an idol, Chef Gustav, once says, you shouldn't be giving up. If you want to create happiness, you got to keep, if you want to create happiness in your baked goods, you need to keep going. So that's what got him motivated. And he tried and he tried. And after the 11th batch of cookies, we don't know if he got it yet or not. He got called by his mom. Hey, let's leave the house. We got to go. I got a special surprise for you. So he grabbed all his cookies, not knowing how they taste like. It's the 11th batch. All right. And then he went by, he came across a competition, like a cooking competition. And so he's like, oh, wow, mom brought me to a cooking competition. So he started watching, and then everyone was making, the top chefs, they were making the fanciest gourmet dishes. But guess who won at the end? You will have to find out, because the fact that Milo brought his cookies along to the competition is a great reason why you would never guess who the real winner is at the competition. And it's a story about determination, resilience, and never giving up, because that is the secret ingredient to success.
And I agree with you there. And I would venture to say that in a house full of boys, I know in a house full of my boys, and I'm sure in a house full of your boys, there were many mistakes made along the way. And the idea is turning those mistakes into something positive and learning from that. So I think that's a lot of the lesson that you're giving us in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything in particular in your life that inspired creating this story? Interesting that you used cooking. We had an episode of the MOOBment Podcast recently. We do a series here called Beyond the Ball Field. And we try to channel activities that don't necessarily involve sports. A lot of moms are not so sports-minded. They're looking for other things to do with their boys outside of the playing field. And we actually featured a company called Radish Kids, which was cooking with your kids. And it was a really great activity for moms to do with their kids, that they can take those skills with them as they grow up and so forth. So was there a reason you chose cooking? Do you cook with your boys? Is it something you love to do?
Well, I chose cooking because I'm not a good baker. I'm not a good chef. Even as simple as a banana bread, I can mess it up big time. Like I can never get it right. I would over stir my batter and the banana bread will come out rock hard. And my kids will never take more than half a bite. So that was the reason why I made baking as a theme.
So you're basically telling yourself, as well as your kids, don't give up, keep trying. And maybe the moms will take that lesson from the book as well as their children. Do you think?
Absolutely. As I write and illustrate my book, I feel like I'm learning and I'm getting more resilient as I work on my books.
That's great. I think that we all, no matter what stage of life we're in, we can still grow and learn. And I see it with this podcast all the time. There are always new skills and new things to do and keep you motivated. So that's a great thing. The other flip side to this, I love the way the book is comical. It engages children. It really just got me, this book. Maybe because I do actually love cooking. And I was really rooting for Milo, and we won't tell everybody how it turns out, but I was rooting for him the whole way. I actually read the book to my young grandson, and he adored it also. And actually, let me backtrack there and ask you, is there a specific age group or age range that you think this book is most appropriate for?
I would suggest anywhere between preschool and grade 2. And obviously you would read to them as read alouds in the classroom or at home during bedtime. But yes, those would be the age group.
Okay, I agree with you. My grandson is 5, and I think that he was the perfect age for this. And that was the other thing I wanted to talk about, is sometimes when you have something to say to a child, you can sit down and lecture that child. You can tell them how you feel. But sometimes the best way to communicate is in a story and through a book. And I found that it opens up the door for communication and conversation that you might not have otherwise. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. When I read to my boys, My older one is 10, and you would think he has grown past the period where he would want mommy to read to him. But guess what? No, he wants me to read his chapter books with him. So so I really value those moments. I know it's not going to last forever. He's 10. Before you know it, he's out of the house, or I kick him out of the house.
That's
So
right.
so I really treasure these moments. I really treasure these moments, and it's cozy. You cuddle up, it's nighttime, and that's when they open up and tell you the real feelings and what really happened at school. Because after school, during pickup, you ask them, "How was your day? What did you do?" It was, "I didn't do anything. Nothing. Nothing." Shrugs. But then during bedtime, they start telling you, "So and so did that, Billy did this, John did that." I'm like, "Oh, those are juicy gossip. Tell me more." So yeah, that's where all the feelings unravel during the bedtime story.
Yeah. And I think that having that routine of reading to your kids, whether it be bedtime, I mean, in our house, it always was bath and then books and then bedtime. So we had those three B's
Hmm.
going. And I think they were used to that routine. We often talked about, all day, which books will we read tonight? And you know what? The love of reading that you instill in them at a very young age continues. And it's one of the best things I think you can give to your kids. Interestingly enough, we talk here also about a lot about raising boys and about boys in the culture that we live in right now and how they actually need more nurturing and more conversation than even girls do. It seems a little more innate for girls, and boys really need that tender, loving care just as well, and maybe don't get it as much. So, reading books to kids is a time when I think boys in particular can be comfortable with, like you say, that snuggle time and that communication that they open up to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about, first of all, you started to write children's books. If somebody wants to just write a children's book, how do you go about it? I mean, is it an idea that you have in your head? And how do you go about it? And you said you did illustrate this as well, which is unbelievable.
Well, first, you really have to have the love for either writing or illustrating or both. And I think nowadays, with the availability of self publishing and in addition to traditional publishing, there is a lot of opportunities for authors to just get their thoughts, get their message out there into the world. And how you get started is simply having a basic message that you want to deliver. If you can illustrate, then go ahead and do both. That's actually really fun for me. It's a great journey to go through. Or you can go find an illustrator to help you partner with the book. And a lot of people do it as a hobby. A lot of people are now starting to see success and doing it as a full-time job, like myself.
That's great. How much do your boys have input into your stories or what you write about?
A lot of input. They are my inspirations on all the humor that's involved in the books. Um, and I even get my boys to read through my final PDF, read through the entire book before I send it to my publisher and before I show the world. It's because they are my target audience. They would actually tell me, "Mommy, this is really repetitive. Mommy, I can't really see what Milo is doing." And then sometimes you would see them react to a certain humor that I have in the page, and I'd be like, "Okay, that works, obviously." So they are my focus group.
That is really great because you know they're going to be honest with you because kids don't hold back. They will tell you if they like something or if they don't like something. So
No, they don't.
that's a wonderful thing to have. Well, we definitely appreciate everything you've done. And I know you have published several books. I think I might have seen something somewhere about a book about a girl who makes some mistakes.
I started with The Girl Who Makes a Million Mistakes first.
Okay.
This was actually the first book because I wrote girl because that's a reflection of myself. I was, well, I am still made of mistakes, just step like millions and millions of mistakes that got me to where I am today. So this is actually the first book. And when the first book started succeeding, I started expanding to the boy, because I'm like, I now need to do something so my boys find it relatable. So that's why I have the series, and they're both doing very well.
That's great to hear, because so many times there are books that are geared just toward boys or just toward girls. And in this case, I think this is a lesson for both of them to learn and walk away with. And I love the fact that you did that, and you made sure. Maybe being a MOOB, a mother of only boys, made you more sensitive to making sure that boys got the message as well as the girls. Do you think?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Because nowadays there's a lot of girl power movement. I'm really proud of how far women have come along. But at the same time, I feel like the pendulum needs to be a little balanced now. We also need to remind the boys that they can do whatever they dream of. Remind the boys that they can be whoever they want to be. Boy power, maybe? Should we go back to that? We need a balance.
I hope you will continue to listen, since you are a MOOB yourself, because we have an author. Her name is Ruth Whitman, and she wrote a book called Boy Mom and talks a lot about that. We've also had Dr. Joshua Coleman, and he has written an article about raising boys. And with everything going on, the Me Too movement and everything else going on, the pendulum has swung, and, we say maybe we need a revolution for boys, somewhat like what girls have experienced. So you're right. We need to engage our boys. We need to keep them in touch with their feelings, their communication skills. And I think books like this are a perfect way to start. So thank you for doing that for us. I think it's everybody should go out and get this book, The Boy Who Makes a Million Mistakes. Read it to your young children, and after you read the story, continue the conversation, because that's so much about the life lesson, and being able to talk to them through the voice of Milo really gets an insight as to what boys are thinking, what boys are feeling, and it's an easier way to really talk to your kids. Are there any other books that you know of, whether you've written them or the books that you read to your kids, that you recommend as far as certain lessons or certain important values that you look to instill in your boys?
Mm-hmm. I have recently published a book called I Turned My Mom into a Unicorn. It's basically a renewal of what I have done in the past. So I am publishing with Source Books right now, and it's coming out really soon. And it's about understanding gratitude, being grateful, especially to your mothers, showing thankfulness of everything they have done. Because kids nowadays, whether it's boys or girls, they tend to take things for granted. There's a lot of entitlement these days, because I feel like we are quite blessed in some parts of the world that boys and girls need to show a little more gratitude and count their blessings more. So that book, I Turned My Mom into Unicorn, is a reflection of that.
I love that. There are so many lessons like that, and we will absolutely be on the lookout for your book, and we will post on our website when it comes out, and we'll let people know about that as well. If there's one thing that we can take away from today's discussion, from the idea of reading to your kids to convey lessons, the lesson that they've learned through this book, The Boy Who Makes a Million Mistakes, what do you think the takeaway should be from this discussion for moms, for young moms?
As mothers, as parents, we all want our kids to succeed. And guess what? The key to succeeding is to let them fail. Let them make mistakes. Don't rush to fix their mistakes. Let them use their brain and think of solutions to fix their own mistakes. That is the secret ingredient to allowing our kids to succeed.
I agree. So many times as mothers, we want to just jump in and fix it and make it right. But really, they take away the lesson and they learn something from it when you basically let them fail, and you're there to catch them, so it's nice to be their support, but that's the way they learn from it. One of the hardest things to do as a mother, but important. And I love that you said that, and I love the way that this book conveys it's okay to make mistakes, and it's great to be persistent. And whether you're an illustrator and an author and you're trying to get your book out there and people are saying no, 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 and you're persistent, so much is do as I do, and whether or not you have it in a book, your boys are seeing that in you. So they are emulating you. My mommy doesn't give up. She keeps going. And it's just a wonderful life lesson. And maybe when we all feel down and we feel like we're making mistakes, we need to remember that everyone makes mistakes. And it's okay. We just need to learn from them. So, Brenda, we have one segment here on the MOOBment where we ask our listeners to send in what we call MOOB mail, which I think you're familiar with. And we did get some mail this week, and I chose one thing to read to everybody, a little bit somewhat related to what we're talking about. So I hope you'll just stay here with us another minute or so and let me read that letter, and we will see what we can do to answer this person whose name is Elizabeth. So let's move on to MOOB mail.
Oh boy, it's that time. Ooh, mail's here. Your voice meets mine. From your heart straight to our trail. Let's open up that mail.
Okay, Elizabeth writes, "Hi, I have a 9-year-old son, and lately I am second-guessing everything I do as a mom. Sometimes I think I'm really too hard on him. Sometimes I think I go too easy on him. I feel like every decision really matters, and I'm getting it all wrong all the time. You always say, trust your instincts, but I don't know what that is anymore. And I wonder, do other MOOBs feel this way too? And how do I get past it?" Okay, Brenda, what do you think? I mean, she didn't tell me, I don't think, how old she said 9-year-old son. So that's close to the age of your son.
9.
How do you feel about that, about parenting? Are you secure in your parenting? Tell me about that.
This is an amazing question, and I am going through this right now. My older one is 10, and lately I have been struggling with our methods of parenting because I'm so used to, just diaper change, no TV time, you're not behaving, quiet corner. None of those work anymore. Now that he's 10, he's acting like a teenager. And every night or every day, there would be a lot of struggle, a lot of tension between myself and my 10-year-old because I feel like I'm not understanding him and he's not understanding me. He actually said something. They're actually more logical than we think. One day he actually told me, "Mom, you're not understanding how 10-year-old boys are these days." And then that hit me. I'm like, maybe I really don't understand. Nowadays, there's so much digital resources. That's how they hang out with their friends. Kids Messenger, video games. They go on apps to look at their sports team and their status. Back then, we play outside on the streets. We talk on the phone. So now every time he's doing something that is not in line with my childhood, I kind of freak out. I'm like, why are you, on Kids Messenger again? But then with all this tension building up, I feel like something needs to change. I need to start adapting to the ever-changing society and my ever-changing boy whose brain and cognitive presence is continuously changing. So I have to let things go and start jumping into the shoes of a 10-year-old boy who's trying to just keep communication with his friends. And nowadays, this is how they do it.
Yeah, I think
So I think the key is to listen to what he has to say and change our ways of parenting to adapt to a growing child.
which is not always that easy to do. But I hear you, and
No.
I think you're right. We have to evolve as parents. We have to listen to them. We have to open up the communication. Having him communicate and saying that to you is a wonderful thing because he's not shutting down. He's actually telling you how he feels, which is great. And I hope Elizabeth and others that hear that understand that she's not alone. That parents never, we rarely are confident in we know exactly how to handle this and what to do. Yes, we have to trust our instincts. I think when it comes down to it, if it's coming out of a place of love and out of your heart, you can trust that you are going to do the right thing. But sometimes that's not the right thing. And that may be considered a mistake. You may think, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have said that to him. I shouldn't have done it this way. But what did we just learn? That it's okay to make mistakes, that we learn from our mistakes, and maybe we'll do it differently the next time. So I think it's a win-win either way. And I think this was a fabulous question, and she is certainly not alone. And it does also help to have community, having other friends, having people who have similar values to you, who have similar age kids, that you can have some kind of a parenting group or something to discuss these kind of things with. And then there's always the MOOBment, where we have so many mothers of only boys who are going through similar things. So one of the reasons, again, that we created this community so that we can all answer questions like this and feel that we're not alone. So I'm glad you said that, and I hope that helped Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, thank you for that letter. I encourage everybody else to just keep sending in the MOOB mail. We really enjoy reading it here, and I think so many of these letters we get and issues that we get do apply to mostly everybody who's listening to us, whether it's as your child, sometimes it's your grandchild, because a lot of grandparents care for their grandchildren. And it's really good to know that we have a community of MOOBs and people who love us there to help. So anyway, Brenda, thank you for joining us today. This was a great conversation, or as we say here, MOOBversation. And I'm so glad to meet you, a fellow MOOB and a wonderful author. We are all going to look out for the boy who makes a million mistakes. We're going to root for Milo. We're all going to find out what happens at the end in this contest. I actually have several of these wonderful books to give away to some of our listeners. So the information will be on our website and on Instagram. It'll be very easy. You'll be able to enter to win these books. And I think this will be a really valuable resource for you with your boys. And we will be looking out for Brenda's newest books to come. And Brenda, where can we follow you or find out more about you?
You can follow me on Instagram at PigInJeans. So that's my handle, at PigInJeans.
So, Brenda, we will feature all of your books on our website. We will let everybody know how to get them, how to reach you, and we appreciate you joining us today. And to everybody out there, I'm going to end the podcast the way I always do, which is to tell you to hug your boys, trust your instincts, and remember that we're all boy moms, and those who love us belong is right here.
Hey!